No, it's not.
Where's what? Does it matter how you're facing this? No.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Picture up there's one.
We're live now.
Yeah, live.
We're live now.
We should have really asked that question.
Big coffee moustache. That's all.
We should have asked that question before we went live.
It is strange because when you start it, you're just like, right, what do I do? Just talk.
Yeah.
Just like a conversation, just like we were talking before.
Of course.
And then you forget the cameras are rolling.
Yeah, of course.
It's the ones that look in the camera like that. Aye, who are you?
Let
me tell you a story.
Take one guess who that is. Take one guess.
No, I'm shy on camera. Well, thank you very much for coming along today, Allan.
Pleasure. Good morning.
So for our listeners, our viewers, we've got Allan MacDougal here from Security Corps. So everything about security and basically life in security industry. Obviously, it's a big thing. Security, we've had high alerts, we've had amber, was it red the next one after that? Whatever's happening in the global scale, the world. But bringing it back down to the basic level just now, security, where did that start for you?
Actually, it started nearly about 30 years ago for me.
Right.
And that was back in my...
When you were
local
12?
town. Yeah. I like that answer. When I was back in my local town. And I was actually employed originally to spot underagers coming into the local disco. All right,
okay.
Which was looking in hindsight, wasn't the best because I was at school with them all. And on one occasion, I remember one of the teachers going, "What are you doing here? You shouldn't even be in here." And that was, that's it's that rock and roll that I always enjoyed the work in security and having, and dealing with people,
Yeah.
And so that's where it all started. And it's something that progressed over the years. My father was in the police at the time, so maybe that rubbed off a little bit. Playing tactical games with him, hiding your carryouts in the local wilderness of Argyll.
Has security industry changed much over the last 10, 15 years? When you look back now and you look at what's happening in security, because security is a really big word, but has it really changed?
I think the industry has changed massively. I think before, when the regulations came in with the SIA, a lot of people, sort of the older guard, if you like, left. I think a lot more sort of standards and red tape came in, I think, which we all have to abide to. But I think the job also became more difficult because, the guys now that you're putting in positions are having to stand in a lot of sort of dangerous at times situations, very confrontational, where the power now is everybody's recording phones. It's no longer a case of, you're working with authorities sometimes and you're the one that's, you're sober on the door. You're the person before was the voice of reason. Now folk are filming. It's all perception, and it's very much changed. A lot more difficult now, and indeed a harder job for people to fill or recruit people into, because sometimes the rewards in current climates aren't really worth the stress levels that people have to endure.
Well, when you think about what times you're actually working, especially these guys might already have another day job as well, right, and then working at night, and then you're just dealing 9 times out of 10 from that. I would probably say from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. That's when the new characters arrive.
That's when your second personality comes out.
Yes,
it's like Hank, me, myself and Irene.
And I think the thing is as well now is, whereas before, if you like, back in the day, if folk wanted to refer to it like that, folk had straighteners, folk would come out, they might fight and it was dealt with. Nowadays, everybody's an expert. Everybody's a lawyer because they've got a computer in their hand. So they can film it, so confrontations can last literally for ages. And they can film it, just like a podcast or anything, with a particular viewpoint and perception. So something can look damning. But actual fact, they've not seen the
context. Yeah, so they don't see the whole context of the thing. They only see in the moment what happens. Right. And that could be completely misconstrued.
Completely. And then what happens as well, and it's that footage they go by sometimes, rather than taking the word of somebody that's maybe standing there, supposed to be maybe impartial, but they're coming and they're looking at footage.
You get them for that 10 seconds without knowing the detail. Sorry. So how do you hire then? Because there must be some sort of characteristics that you're looking for, that attitude, behaviour, a person that is going to fit into that role. How do you find that?
I think first and foremost you've got to recruit specifically sometimes depending on the job at hand. So if if you want a front facing dealing in maybe a commercial premises or a retail premises, high end, like some place would you have to vet accordingly. So a person presentable has a good attitude, can obviously speak well to the public and deal with things, versus it might be in a nightclub exactly the same person, but it's a presentation. It's how their approach. and common sense, which sounds funny, but very few folks a lot of folk don't possess that. So it's very much a case of just trying to recruit specifically to the venue or the area that you're trying to cover, and then just methodically, because there's not a ready supply of people now, because it's not a job a lot of the time people want to come in because of the risk to rewards in some of the security positions. So very much a case everybody's trying to sort of grab the same small pool of staff, so it's difficult.
So does that then mean if there's not enough guys coming into the industry, Alan, that wages or how they get remunerated goes up because there's scarcity and good guys are, or is it not? Or is it like, this is the price, sorry, you have to fit in?
You know what, it's funny because like with all the pay rises, I think it's one of the industries in hospitality that the wage rises haven't really gone up. And the wage rises have, but in terms of the cost that people are spending have not rised, in relation to everything else. So it's a lot of, it can be a very stressful and difficult job at times, as well as enjoyable, but a very difficult and stressful job for wages that a lot of people could go, I could just work somewhere else and have nowhere near the hassle, working in a different premises, a shop, stacking shelves to a variety of different positions, So that's where it gets difficult, It doesn't remunerate in accordance, I don't think. There's obviously exceptions to that rule, but just in general, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, it's difficult. Is there a lot of security opportunities? Let's talk Scotland specifically, like Edinburgh, Glasgow, because it's bulk population sits here anyway.
Oh, I mean, there is always work. I mean, Edinburgh, because it's such a vibrant and busy city and it's the capital, it's constant, so if you've got the festival, then you've got the festival out the way. You've obviously got all the students and the freshers. Edinburgh's over a quarter population student. And then you go into the Christmas time and it's busy. So we're lucky that it's all year round. And that's the basis. So you can have careers in security, of course. I've obviously taken one myself, but I think it's very much a case of there are opportunities and there's the ability to work constant for it as much. And like you said before, whether it's a part-time job, a second job, or a full-time job, there's definitely you can.
Because I was just thinking there wrongly, the doors, thinking that right away. But then when you think about the conference centre, you talk about festivals. There's security everywhere.
Yeah, security is everywhere.
Even, well, you see with the football match as well, there'll be certain security as well. Then you can move on to close protection. I mean, we're talking a little bit about close protection as well. So how do you find this work? Because we're trying to educate people. We're educating people, right? And that's why we call it the edutainment podcast. We're giving people an education based on what people have lived their lives in their business world. How do you get these, pardon the pun, open the doors for new business for yourself?
I think a lot of it, initially, there's been, in the current climate, there's so many, there's websites, there's forums, that people are part of, and it's just really, a lot of it's word of mouth. When you get into that, it's recommendations that people, we've been lucky when it's come down to the folk of, for the venues that we've looked after, some of the high profile venues that we look after, then people have contacted us through that. So they've been using the venues, and then we've said, look, we'll just supply the security. So it's come in hands. If they've booked one of these places, we've obviously said, look, this is the security team, and this is how we've got that. And then after that, you start to build a good reputation over the years, and then that's what happens. And then people go, right, use this company here. So it's repeat business, when it came to the city. So we've been quite lucky that, and obviously because of the standards we exact, and the level of security we provide, and that professionalism. So your CV, if you like, comes into it to say you can use these companies.
See, because I've said this may be boring the hell out of these guys, but I always talk about businesses being the Savoy or the Travel Lodge.
Yeah.
The difference is they still serve a room, they still do sales for a purpose, but it's just that
it's a different
next
standard.
level. And is that where you think, or that's where you believe you are, or where you want to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think tried and tested. The local knowledge. I mean, I refer back to when it used to be the case folk were handing in brochures, and they used to go for pitching for clients with a big glossy brochure, and at the end of the day they said, "Where's yours?" I was the only one that didn't have a brochure. I thought, this is it. There's the brochure there. What do you want to ask?
I did my guideliner and everything.
Because at the end of the day, the brochure means nothing. And it was, I remember a client said to us before, we got 10 of these on the desk, and one of them just happened to pick one. And he came out with the hat almost and goes, and it was my name that came into it. And then we spoke, and then you build it, because folk want local knowledge. These are the things that you can offer that you can't put in brochures and things. Much as you might, it's a sales pitch, and all it's changed now, but it's word of mouth. Who's used to dealing with this? who's got a proven track record, and that's where the sort of CV comes in.
Who doesn't show up on social media all the time? Because I suppose that's what clients worry about when they look at security. They worry. It's reputational risks implied, that type of thing.
Of course, exactly. And sometimes people have, a lot to say on social media that maybe it's not apt. And then you think, we don't want to employ this person. Is this that where they've got specific views, or just a lack of professionalism? Because some folk like discretion, and as many people you look at, they don't want to be everywhere. By the very nature, sometimes it's the people that have taken on or close to them that are highlighting where they're staying or what they're doing. So they've managed to keep everything a secret, apart from the security or whoever else might have posted up exactly where they are.
It's interesting because if you're hiring somebody, I'd imagine, I know I do. First thing I do is check on social media. Mike, you've said that. You check on social media to see what their real life is like, or their fake life, whatever you want to call it. But you do, because you're trying to find knowledge and trying to find an idea of what that person's all about. See how you've got your reputation for doing your security. How did you get into that close protection and security? Sorry, I can't remember the word, but how did you get into that realm?
I think it came with, like I said, having the opportunity and working with specific high-end clients that happened to be coming to the venues we're looking at, and from there building on that, and then building with the people that organise these events, building the people that that bring them into the UK, from promoters to other venues, and just from there start building a framework, and then from there you pitch for it, and then, like I said, you start to become the people that go, right, they'll be in town. Can you take care of this? This is what we're looking for.
Can I rewind? What does close protection mean? Just for people.
So it's more. So obviously we talked about doors and standing on doors of venues. Close protection.
So tell us about doors and venues, and then close protection. What does that mean?
Well, a door when we refer to as nightclubs, bars, licensed premises, that people might stand. The security will stand up.
Okay.
Then venues just being anything from retail to commercial, to be a front person, of a business venue. And then the bodyguarding, the close protection, is to look after a specific client. Okay. So you're in charge of all their security, from how their transportation, how they're getting to and from a place, the threat, where they're staying, and just being their physical protection constantly.
I think that's a massive protection. That's a massive responsibility, because you have to think 10 steps ahead. Correct. You have to worry about threat assessment. You have to worry about so many things going wrong.
Yes.
Do you have sleepless nights about that?
Yeah, do you know what? I think after a period you start to build it in so that it becomes, you've got a framework that you operate to, and it flows. But it's just ensuring that, again, the team you've got is on point. But that's down to your briefings, and it's just planning. It's just constant planning. And like you said, it is 3 steps ahead. So proactive and then reactive.
So it must be like.
It sounds massively interesting. There's so many questions, but
do you know what's interesting though about it? Like the businesses, like let's take Mike's business, right? Or the businesses that you've got, the lighting, Ginger Giraffe, all that, and the construction. You see what you see in your businesses that most people won't. You see what's happening. You see what I see what. But when it comes to security, you must be like, when you're going into a shop, when you're going anywhere, with your personal protection, you're looking at everything, exits, lights, who's that, the people with the red cap on, that guy there, that car where that's parked. The threat assessment, that must be fuck. My head's just...
But I suppose it's like with agent skill. It's a skill that you've developed, though, over time, that you could spot something and go, that's out of kilter. Guys, just watch out for that. I've seen that. Of course.
And it's instinct as well for that, and that's why it's an instinctive reaction, and it's just an aptitude. But it's always situational awareness. I think the issue is when you're not working, that you can't switch off, and someone, like you're in a restaurant,
back against the wall.
So at the restaurant, you've got the waitress going, "Will this table be okay? Is there anywhere else you'd like to sit before we commence this dinner?" The waiter's walking about going, "It's mine. I've moved to somewhere else behind the plant or something." It's different, but it's switching off to it. But I think then that you're good at it. And touch wood, no one's had any issues so far. So.
This obviously, it sounds a bit stupid, but this has obviously been trained. This has been trained into you over a period of time.
Yeah, I think it's training. It's like I say, I use an aptitude, but I think if you have some people, you go through all courses and do it, and other people you just have an aptitude. I've always just found it something that I've enjoyed doing. I enjoyed that, and the planning part of it. That's what I always enjoyed the most. And
Right.
it flowed. And then the teaching, I'm a big person in teaching things.
How is that?
Passing that on, you know.
So that's something that's developed for you from all business. You're now into sort of teaching, coaching, motivational speaker. How did that come about?
I just think over a period of time, I think when before, and not say giving orders is maybe the wrong thing, when you're instructing people when they're working and trying to bring out the best, because what you want, and again we have such good sort of staff retention and loyalty is because you want to educate people if you can and pass it on. Some people might not listen to it or be receptive, but you want to guide folk and teach them and go, I've done that before. It's like the old mantra, you used to go to the gyms and one of the older guard would show you, can I ask how you're doing, and they'd show you the best way to be a bench press or whatever. It's the same mantra. So you want to bring out the best in folk. Then the teaching flows, then you go, well, I can actually standardise that. This is the way to do it. So rather than me just teaching you, then repeating it all the time, okay, let's get everybody together, right? This is what we're doing, and then building it from there. So it becomes, and again, I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing people coming forth, and it just might be for anything, maybe security side or gyms in life, if they start to see them making improvements or helping themselves or getting a bit happier with it, then it's a really good sense of reward, and it's a great purpose. But yeah, I think for me it's sometimes whether folk want the teaching or not.
Aye. But everybody, you hear it more often than not now. We've done the mentoring from the schools, and it's a big thing. Because there's a misconception with some of the schools, I think, like kids are not as good. There's a lot of kids in there that are still absolutely amazing. And we've seen that. We were kind of blown away with that with Queen Anne and Craig Masson. But there are people that are talking about their social anxieties, their depression or deep rest, whatever you want to call it. You'll find that. But why did you go into that field?
For me, it was always something, and again, I suppose it's when you're standing in a position let's call it the doors on security. Folk are talking to you all the time, and sometimes folk are out because folk have a drink, not a lot of drinking. Folk drink if they're happy. Folk drink if they're sad. For things to talk about. So that period they're out there. So over a period of time, you're not just dealing with your own security guys or people. You're dealing with customers. They're a bit lost and guiding them, and it's about you're de-escalating situations because you're getting to so over a period of so many years. Realise what makes folk tick, and I thought, well, you can turn a really negative into a positive. So that decision there, and we've had it many times where that guy was maybe or a female were going to do something that would have ruined their life the next day, getting the charges, getting everything else that would have came, and by changing that round and de-escalating it, they've had a chance at that. They've had a reprieve, like an intervention, where you could have woke up the next day and rather than a hangover, they're looking at a possible prison time or you've been banned from something for something silly. So, by interjecting, you've gone, and it'd be easy to leave it, but it's that thing going, I can maybe help this person here. So the easiest thing we do would be to phone the police, or if someone's really violent, to pin them down on the ground and wait for the police. But rather than doing that, just calming it down, and then you build a sort of bond, so it becomes less of a transaction, but a relationship with the person. And then they see it. So I sort of started to apply that, and then there's always something I'd done, like a giant agony aunt, and then agony uncle. And then you go, this is something I really enjoy, and just studying a bit more facets of it, and then just using it as a business, because what you realise is there's so many people require help. Because after COVID, so many people are sitting in an anxious state. A lot of the country, I think, to be honest.
I think that's such an interesting comment you just made, Allan, is about that intervention and about just changing the direction of travel, just in that split second.
Yep.
The calm voice of reason. Now, again, we spoke about this earlier, in a world where everybody videos everything on their phones, they take it out of, they don't see the run up.
Of course.
They see the consequence, but they also don't see the other side, that intervention, that change, how you change it in a split.
Of course. And I always refer to it as a moment of impulse, instantly regretted. That's what it is. It's that 1 second, it's like that sliding doors. It was a different way. And then it comes on to me, so I think, if you can change it, then that intervention. And a lot of folk look back because, it is folk are wound up tight. If folk are anxious, look at, if you stop me, I always like, if you stop your car for a second on the road, someone will take the horn. Even if you're trying to get in a space, everyone's impatient. Everyone's ready to just unleash. If they bang a trolley, if you take the last milk, you're like, it's okay, I'll get the next one. I'm not that thirsty. But people are, and it's just, you've always got to remember, that might just be the tinderbox that blows it all up. It's just that one thing. A lot of folk, if you work on the basis, they're all on there. Some folk are on the edge. It's just one moment, one thing that will spark it. From the road rage, hence the road rage happens. Or banging or in a bar, or being refused entry from somewhere, or just something simplistic that in normal terms wouldn't make a difference, but when your cup's overflowing, then that's what happens. Yeah. And then you could have it, and a lot of the time it happens when they have alcohol and they're coming to a venue or out, and that's the explosion. It's like, I'm going to, and you could just be the person that goes, So
you're not really in security, you're more in counselling and intervention.
That's it.
So what would you say is good advice for anybody that's going out and about that's maybe feeling they're on that edge?
I think it's
in a situation.
I think if they can recognise it, I think reach out to somebody. First and foremost, I think if you have to speak to somebody. And it's it's not like obviously you get some great numbers to phone, but reach out to people that are close to you, because a lot of the time we always assume, and we get angry for it first. We assume that you know how I'm feeling, and then I get angry at you for not asking. You won't understand, because we assume that you know. You have to physically spell out and say, I'm struggling right now. I'm having some bad thoughts or whatever it may be. I'm really worried about this, so that somebody knows. And then I always say, if you tell somebody, work on the basis that folk are, and it's not ignorant, they're just not aware of it, because folk have got their own stuff. Make them aware. Then if you don't get any help from that person or something else, you can go to somebody else. But it's important that you literally spell it out and slow it down and go, this is the situation I'm in. And then folk, then they can react to it, because we assume that people know about your best friends, but it's hidden in plain sight all the time. And nobody wants to let out their struggling because they see it as a form of weakness at times. But absolutely isn't the case. And if they are out and about, or you've got people, with alcohol or drugs, it's the wrong catalyst for it. Yeah. It's a temporary reprieve, it's a temporary escapism, but it'll still be there in the morning. And so it's just fold. So it's addressing, it's not taking the paracetamol for the sore head, it's why am I getting headaches all the time? It's looking at the root cause, and just got to go back to basics and just say, look, I'm struggling. So that's probably what I'd say to them, just to reach out, and don't be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed of it. Because if you're judged by any of your close friends, they're not your close friends.
Exactly.
And that's it. Like we used to say at work, I'll be your friend before it, I'll be your friend after it. But during this period, this is your job. So if you have to play the friend thing, then you're not my friend if you're compromising our employment or our profession,
What are some of the valuable lessons that you've learned during your time in security?
I think that society is good, and there's such great things to look for within it in life. That you meet some great people, that if you sit and listen and slow, when the sort of music stops, and you actually listen to people and just take time for perspective, that there's some, it's never too late to learn, and that saying I always love. It's never too late to be the person you might have been, which I love.
That is such a good analogy. You're never too old to become the person.
So it can change at any stage. Making a change now. If someone listens to the podcast and goes, do you know what? Then it's perfect, and it's worked, in my opinion. Yep. It's looking for the small wins. Small wins, no matter what it is, it's just looking for that small win from one person. If they can go out the house and go and listen to music and go out and have a walk about, excellent. If they just go, I'm going to reach out to that person, then excellent. And that's probably one of the things that you learn, just talking to folk, how you can make a difference. Just in it, it's a lot of cliches that people use online, but it's just applying that and going, that worked well today, So it's just, I think it's just following through and not being afraid to do these things, no matter how scary it might be,
I think it's the Denzel Washington quote. I've said this before. Around your deathbed, you fast forward, you can go straight to the foundation, the start or the end. A lot of people go with the end goal in mind. So let's just say the pain and the regret. You're sitting on your deathbed. You're not worried about the money. You're not worried about the car. You're wanting the people that love you and the people that you love around you. Yes. But the pain of regret, that's what they said, round your table said, we came to you and you did nothing about it. So don't have any regrets, because it weighs a lot more. Go and do the thing that you wanted to do. Go to Thailand, go to America, do your things and find a way around it, because it's exciting, the journey. We've just came back. You've been Boston and Miami to watch a fantastic full team Scotland.
Financially restrained now for a bit.
That's it.
Tesco value,
smart price. But it was difficult as well financially, but it was that, I'm going to regret it and I'm going to do it and I'll find it, because you make money, you lose money, you spend money, and it's a constant cycle. But the one thing is you can't get back is those memories that you could have got.
It's time. You can't get back time. Folk wait for the rainy day, but the umbrella rainy day comes and goes. They don't see it. And I used to always use that analogy with the car. I mean, the first car I got, I failed my test twice and got it the third time. And the first car I bought was a Jag,
Right,
And I got the doors. Now, I couldn't really drive anyway. It was terrible with the manual and it was an automatic. And I remember phoning the guy and going, I'd forgotten what to do. I go, you sold me a duff car. See, when I get a taxi, I'm coming right to your garage. And he goes, have you pushed the brake in? I goes, thanks very much, I'll speak to you later. I'm clunking this gear. And I remember parking it, and I just always remember the funniest, I parked it about a mile from the curb, because I didn't. And then I phoned up Tesco for the insurance, and they said, he goes, what have you got? It's a Jaguar, it's an XJ6 Sport. I goes, oh, he's a guy's like nice car, 3.2. He goes, how long have you been driving? I said, 2 days. And once they start laughing, they did actually insure me in the end, but I just thought, my whole thing was, I wanted the car now. That's the difference. I wanted to go for it. I don't want to go, one day I'll get that. I wanted it now, and that's been my attitude to things. Because I want to go and get it. And with everything I've applied for, I want to go and visit that place. I want to do that course. I want to go and study here. I want to see that concert. And that's always been my sort of motivation.
Do you get into concerts for free? I'm just asking for a friend.
Normally the ones you don't want to go to be honest.
Celine Dion.
I just pretend I'm secure. I just want my badge and that and walk in and try and wing it a bit, There's a client, he's somewhere in there, I'll get him in a second, But no, that's what I say. So, don't fear failure, fear regret, like you said. So just go and, make the most of it in these opportunities. And don't sit back, like I said with the car, it's just, you've got to, if you're motivated to go for it, don't put it back. Because it's not guaranteed, And more and more people are starting to realise that now, going, tomorrow's not guaranteed. You don't know what could happen, or the people. And plus, the other part is, if I'd got that car now, what impact would it have? It wouldn't,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it at the time to go, that's great. That's why you see sometimes a lot of guys that are a lot older trying to fit into sports cars that they wanted at the time. And then they've gone, I can't get in and out of this car. I potentially maybe shouldn't have bought this. As I'm needing assistance to get out of it and in some form of lubrication to get in it, So
it's so funny that you say that. I don't know, I was driving this weekend and there's a guy's got a brand new Aston Martin, but it's so low on the ground, all right? So when you hit a speed bump, I'm like, this guy's going to struggle. But there was traffic was probably a mile back up behind him because he's driving so slow. Yeah.
Yes.
And then when you see it's an old guy, and then I'm like, he's going to struggle to get in and out of those cars. Yeah. So you're right. Live today like it's your last day.
Listen, open the nice wine. It's like it says your folks had cutlery. Oh, we'll get the silvers. I'm in my granny. I don't ever recall that cutlery being used. I don't recall. And then when folk pass on, you get handed a box of cutlery and go, well, it's not staying in this house. Off it goes, because it's like, it's generational passed down, but things are different now. Folk, you don't have to hold stuff. A lot of folk don't, it's the case of, you're not going to use it, open that nice wine. Well, better to enjoy it, rather than sitting and going, keep that there for the special occasion, because it comes and goes.
It does.
And you end up opening it normally at a party or something. You go, I may as well just open that now. But it's definitely not appreciated getting poured into teapots and plastic cups or whatever else.
I must admit, the wine was very good when we had it with Steve, because Steve likes his wine.
Oh, it's our expert.
He's an expert in wine. I'm like, that will do me very nicely.
It's taken us both a lot of research into different wines to get there. I blame him for that.
Right.
I blame him for that.
Back to what you said earlier on, I picked up drive. Yes. And you said you'll get the car, you'll just do what you're going to do, you'll go to concerts, things. When people are starting their business and people are in business, they sometimes fatigue. And I always say the winners out there, however you monitor your winning through financial or happiness or joy, how significant is the drive in your success?
I think it's imperative, because you're the master of your own fate, So it's important. If you can't drive it, no one else can. And sometimes I think it's easy to pass it on to somebody else. Can you do this and can you do that? But I mean, when you're starting especially, you have to have the drive and the tenacity to bring it forward, because it's your vision. You can't teach someone else your vision. You can empower people to your beliefs and your core beliefs, but it's got to be your drive. And then after, I think you can't do everything though. So once you get to a stage, I think it's then important, because otherwise you burn out, and it's easy to get fatigued, because then you don't want to let away anything. There comes a fine point you've got to go, once things are established, to go, right, I need some help with this, and someone can take the load off. But I think very much a case when it comes to drive, it's your baby, and you need to see it through. So 100%.
Well, so there's the security, there's the close protection, there's the motivational speaking and helping people, and then the next part is your charity work.
Yes.
Let's call it that. So the lodge, all these things that you've went into, how long have you been a part of that?
I joined in the late 90s. So I joined in 1999. And it's something I was always fascinated with. And the history, and the moral structure, the social structure is just something I really believe in, and I'm always a proud advocate of it. And I've travelled the world with it and made friends and, associates across the globe. And it's just a great fraternity, but the charity work is phenomenal. I was at a meeting the other day and it was called the Shriners. They're the ones that wear the Tommy Cooper fez. And they're one of the world's largest charities. And, and when you're actually across there, I visited in Portland, Oregon, one of the Shriner hospitals, I think they've got 21. And their hospitals, as you know, in America, you have to pay for your medical bills. So there's no billing from baby up to 21. They've got some of the best burns units in the world. And I went there, they just completed, I think it was a £23 million renovation of that part of the hospital. And they go in there and it was phenomenal. And it was somebody that had been treated as our guide and showed us around. And you see where your charity, where money goes, because, all the money lodge, it's all about, say, faith, hope and charity. But, they donate to things all across Scotland, across the UK. Freemasonry is a charitable organisation. That's really what it's about. So to see these things in action was really rewarding, and I love being part of it.
And would that be the misconception that people have of that? The Sonic Lodge, lift up the trouser leg and all that carry on. But, because there is...
What is the conception about Freemasonry? What do you think is the general public perception around it?
I think that's a tough one because, there's obviously conspiracy theorists in one part and there's some people that are anti, like in anything. It's no different, I think, to if you've got a hunt. People were doing the fox hunting or the deer hunting and they've got their ritual, they'll smear blood in their face after it, etc. Some people are for it, some people are against it. Golf, you've got colleges, you've got hazing rituals. Everything's just a bit different. I think folk, when they sit and look at the history of it and, we're surrounded by it, then I think it's fascinating. It's just taking time to that because sometimes it's easy to look and read one book or and hear one, as we all know with anything,
one perspective,
one quote and go, oh, that's it then. Oh, that's it. Okay. I've seen that where it's something which it couldn't be further from the truth. And I'm a very keen historian, so I love the history of it, And when you actually look into it, and we're surrounded in Edinburgh with it. You've got from Rosslyn Chapel to Carmarthen, Glen, all the places, and from Argyll to name but a few. But it's fascinating. But it's easy to get. Sometimes it's easier rather than do a bit of research and a bit of reading into it. It's easier, of course, because and to hear the conspiracy stuff because
that's what sells, though, isn't it? The conspiracy. Let's rather take the time to research, get to the facts, talk to the people.
Because in a lot of things in society, it's easier to take the negative sometimes than it is to see the positive.
So why is there so much secrecy around it then?
I think nowadays it's very open. They've got their own podcasts. I think before you didn't have social media. So it's just the very nature of it. Unless you were in it, folk didn't really speak as much about it. When we grew up, it was all of the charity stuff. We used to have Masonic swimming and different things that the lodge would do and the charities that local charities that it benefited from. But I think nowadays it's quite an open book. There's certain parts are secret because that's what keeps the nature of the order, and you've got to, otherwise there'll be nothing to learn. As you walk through the process and you immerse yourself into it, there'd be nothing to learn if everything was just open mind. And that's what for so many societies and groups, it's like no different to academia. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it, and the more you learn. And there's so many different facets to it, which makes it all the more fascinating.
Do you know what's really interesting, right? This might be a point to tell everybody, or our listeners and our viewers, everybody's got a story. You've got a story, and it's an incredible story. Like things that we've learned over just having coffees together and then meeting here. Do you ever actually look at your life and go, oh my God, I've done quite a hell of a lot?
Yeah, it's funny. It's not until someone else points it done, because sometimes you're your own self-critic and you look at it. But I think there'll come a time for that. I love writing. I love reading and sort of poetry and things, but it's quotations. But I like writing. I think the further you go on, the more you want to write your sort of a memoir later on, and you keep adding to it. You've all got your journey, and it's not fresh pages. It's new chapters constantly. And then you go, it's something good to it. Some folk go, it's a new page. It's a new chapter, and you will get the chance to do that every day when you wake up. It's a new chance to go, I'm going to write this, and what part am I hitting with this? And that's what I enjoy. And there'll come a point, I think, you go, you have a great life. Hence why the teaching part. Hence why the ability to say it's not condescending or patronising, but if you want to listen and you want to tune into it, this these are the good things to speak, and you do, and it's incredible, and that motivates you more because you think, you've done all this, we've all had our, adversities and things, but it's, you go, this is where I want to be as well at the end of it. There's so much more to do. And that gives you a fresh sort of energising feel to go, right, I'm going to keep doing, to that old quotation, like I said, it's never too late to be the person you might have been. I want to go here. I want to go there. And that's what I enjoy about it. And one day maybe we'll pen it down, we'll write loose memoirs of it and go, this is my story. It's like somebody said before, it goes, how would you conduct, tell me about yourself in a few minutes for these job interviews, and you go, listen, read this,
I've got a glossy magazine for you.
Yeah, it's like an Argos catalogue.
I liked what they were doing. We had Tim Purvis on from William Purvis, the funeral directors. Very interesting character. But we started talking about the memorial. What do you call them? The headstones. Yeah. And people have got the QR codes. When you scan it, I know it might sound strange, but if I'm going down to the graveyard to see my mate, I'd love to just scan them and just go, what's that? The old ones that are like 1923, I'd love to know more about that. And just
1823, that.
Aye.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But if you could get all of that would be, because just being nosy or just being really interested is same thing, I think.
More on a personal level, when you talk about writing memoirs for Mother's Day about 3 years ago, I bought my mother this gift, her life in a book, because she's now 80, right? And she wrote down everything. It's like a keepsake.
Yeah, I think it's excellent.
Because you forget things, and it's something nice to pass on to your kids. And I think so you definitely should sit down, and even if it's just for family.
Yeah, of course.
It's just such a nice keepsake.
And what I like about that is, as well, is folk really, when they're tuning, folk give scripted answers. Because like I said at the start, this is organic where we can speak. And that's what I feel it should be. Because otherwise folk come in with preconceived, and that's the whole point, even with counselling, to touch on that, it's the same. Folk think this is what I should say. So they don't want to admit they're struggling. So they'll say, I better just say this. And it's the same with a lot of things. Like, how's it going? It's good. What you been up to? Oh, just, rather than it. When I think it's nice because there'll be a lot of things that your mother's probably written that you wouldn't know about.
Yeah, absolutely.
But see if you say, it's like when you sit with your grandparents go, tell me about that. And they go, well, it's this one time. Because it's stuff that they never want to make it about them. They don't want to make it about them. They think, well, it's all about you because that's the parental job. But it's nice now, especially as people, folks get older, you go, tell me about that. What was that like? And you get into stories you'd never have had before. Yeah. And it's the ones you want to hear. And
it's the way you see people shift as well, how they make them feel when they get to talk about that part of their life. It's like we talk about any kid, young kid, going to a nursing home, you'll get perspective.
Yeah, of course.
Ask them questions and they'll just...
Because they want to feel relevant rather than just a number or just a name in a place. They want to feel relevant and go, I've lived a life. I'm not here just one of 20 people in a home or anything else or in your own place. They want to feel relevant. Yeah. They've raised, and that is your role, but your different role is now it is to have these stories and a bit of enjoy your life. What would you like to go and do? Because normally they've been doing it just for everybody else. And it's just to make them feel relevant and have, this is your life and it's important. You mattered. You matter,
That's the thing. I do think everybody wants to matter. I saw a fantastic quote out of a movie, and I can't tell you what it is, but it's Michael Caine is one of the actors, and he's in a bank, and the guy's robbed the bank. And the guy sits to him and he goes, it's society's role to take care of the elderly. And then anyway, Michael Caine and them, they go rob a bank, and this guy launders the money, and then he sits across the table from them, and the guy repeats that exact phrase. And he realized that was the bank robber around it. But you're right. It is society's duty to take care of the elderly because everybody wants to matter. Everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. You want to matter. You want to feel that you have a voice and that you're not just a number. Because a lot of people are invisible. A lot of people feel invisible.
And after the lockdowns and thing, a lot of folk, they come into seclusion. Become like a Netflix thing, I think we do when I call it that because people on their couch, they can order everything in. Their interaction's less. Yep. Because they can order food in, they can order everything to their door. They don't have to engage with it. A lot of folk work from home. They're not having that human contact, the engagement. So it becomes, not saying scripted answers, very guarded. Because people are just used to this. Well, this is my routine. I don't want to change this because that's how they've got by after being told everything's, the end of the world is nigh. So folk come into it and go, I feel safer here. And it's nice to come back in and just having these conversations. Like all the safe folk, just having a normal, a chin wagging, people talking about the most relevant things, feeling it and just just talking shit sometimes. That's what folk need to do,
Aye.
just to top it, and then get away from doing that and spitballing rather than feeling they've got to have all these, scripted or preconceived ideas.
Well, talking shit, this is what we do every week.
That's a great job.
Well, you have any more questions? I'm going to finish with my last one, unless you've got one.
I'm only thinking like challenges. What do you feel has been one of the biggest challenges in the whole journey for you to kind of overcome, if you did?
I think when it comes to, well, a lot of things changed at one stage, which was with the business way back, and it was a changing of. It's when I had to sort of come into my own, I suppose. The people that you put faith in other people, and then ultimately you realise that folk they're looking out for their own interests, and you're on. So it's naivety. We're back in the business part. The naivety thinking everyone's in the same trajectory as you, that we're mirrors. So all the genuine admiration, love, respect you give to people with colleagues, it wasn't reciprocated. You seen it through your eyes, and then effectively it led to a part of the waste, let's say, where I had to sort of rebuild. But then ultimately was the best thing, because you realise when that door closes, it's not a new chapter, it's a new book, and you go out and you embrace it and go, and that's war, and I've never looked back from that. And that's what it was, to take the times, and then you realise, okay, there's some boundaries there, but it's a life lesson. Because sometimes you're all guilty of it, it's a bubble, and then when something happens, you don't expect it, and maybe that coupled with now all the security work over the years, you realise it's being proactive and going, now I can anticipate certain things and not putting yourself in that position again. As long as you learn from it sometimes. That's the difference. We all make mistakes, but it's learn from it and going, I'm not going to do that again, and maybe a far more solid person and better.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So my last question to you is, and I've asked a few people this, and it's the reason why I asked this is it was just to realise the purpose of this and to catch everybody you're living day to day. When the curtain falls, what do you want to be remembered for? Or what do you want to be remembered for achieving? Or what gives you that feeling of, I've managed it?
I think when it falls that you've genuinely helped people. That you've made, at times made them smile, and you were when everything else was unsteady, you were a rock in a stormy seas that you could rely on. And it were there, and it gave them grounding and gave them a solid that would always be there when other things maybe they didn't have.
How long have you taken to realise that? Because that's a very, very good
that
answer.
was off the cuff, that
off the cuff, that's a brilliant answer.
Because some people go, right, Mike, you tell me you go first.
I lent him a fiver. I let him remember that. I didn't lend him that money.
That is important, though.
Of course, and that's it. And that's for me. It's just I think that's what it is. Because, like you said earlier on, the rest of it, you're not taking it with you, and that's what it is. Like I said, you make one person have a difference. Make that one person smile. That one person go, okay, that's good. Thanks for being there.
Well, you've made me smile today. You've made me definitely smile, and I want to say thank you very much for coming on.
Pleasure. Thanks for the button.
Brilliant. And we've got a button.
We do have a button.
This is your world.
Shape it.
Or someone else will.